Welcome back, everyone, for another segment of Building with Draconious. We're here in the DBS Stormbird Studios, which was generously created by Draconious and Spider Ross on Determination Delta. This will be part 7 of the ongoing series Building with Draconious.
Okay, so we got our standard set over here, and then we made our roaming vector set here using, and we called this category 1. The main reason I colored the backboard center and the default number 5 to show you if you look straight on those two, they're right on top of each other. And that's why we decipher this as category 1. And then what category 2 will be is that same home location where I just colored it red. The visual that will be below it will be a half a voxel further stretched out. So going out to its maximum location that we can push it as a roaming vector. Okay, so in order to find the piece we need to make category 2 on our roaming set, we're going to go onto the floor and we're going to place a selection box that's 4 voxels by 5 boxes. And make sure you're facing the south wall. We'll raise that selection box into the air and we'll fill that. And then on the back of it, we'll take our selection box and select the back slice. And we're going to raise that selection box up to 21. Essentially what this is building you is a 20 high voxel backboard with a 4 voxel base. Now we're going to go into our line tool. We're going to make that 4 voxels. I'm going to target the bottom plate and go right to the very top of the wall and place a line. Now I'm going to get my paint tool out, get a different color than what we used to build the line with, and I'm going to paint the top right corner of that line. And you'll see there that red voxel I brought in, it's overextended, so we know that's going to be our roaming. And that's one we're going to need, and that one actually is the furthest location that we can push it out from the central location of the reacting zone. Okay, so pull out a reactor, and now that we have our piece identified up there, we'll go up there and copy it. Come down here to our reactor and using our quick technique that I taught in lesson 6, we can target the bottom right corner of this reactor when we're facing south. Just go Control V, click, and it puts the piece to the center. And now that we have that piece there, what we're going to do is we have to identify the corner that we need of those 8 handles to get our furthest default location. As you can see, these top 2 are locations that we're looking for. They go at that extra 0.5 outside the reaction zone. And it's those 2 handles I'm looking at, and it's those positions that we want to copy. And all we need is one of them because they're both identical. So that's the one I'll be using. And what we're going to do to copy that position and make a default cube at that location is we're going to put up a closed reactor. And I'm going to grab my add tool, come out, and what we're going to do is do a 2 by 2 box, raise it up into the air, clip it in, then we're going to go up and copy our desired location and then put that into the exact same corner as it would be inside the open reactor. As you can see, the top right corner on both of them. Once that's been inputted into that 2 by 2 cube, it's now marked the other ones in that cube. So what I'm going to do, just to help visually replace all the ones in the other one, I'm going to go and change the color of that 2 by 2 cube, and I'm going to copy all these other 7 corners back into the open reactor in the exact same location they came out. Okay, so now that we have all of our pieces back in from the closed reactor, and you can see that I left the top one that we transferred over. I didn't recopy back over top of it because that was the position where we're copying, so it wouldn't have changed. And I'm just going to quickly copy our default box on the center now. Now you can see we have a perfect looking default cube at that location, and that's the furthest we can push that graphic away from the center of the reactor. Okay, now that we have our default number 5 made at this location for our category 2 roaming set, I'm going to go in and select it out of the reactor. I'm going to copy it. And then we're going to move over here, and what I'm going to do is get set up to make a scale of them. Now it's upside down in the reactor tile we've been doing our board, so I'm just going to use the V key to mirror it up. And then I'm going to place them in our scale row. So just an airspace between each one. Oops. I'll click on the trigger there. And there we go. So focus in our default. And now because of the smoothing, what we're going to do is just take one of them a little bit more to the other direction. And that'll be our working copy as we go through the set. And we'll just replace those locations as we did in category 1. And I'll take that one over here, just a couple. So to get this going, we're going to go to our working copy, select above it. It's going to jump the ownerships above the piece. So just your selection box and a 1 by 1 by 1. Take your smooth tool, hit your selection box. The piece will disappear. This is where we're going to bring out our putty. Just putty in your selection box, and you'll have your number 4. Copy that, replace your number 4 in your scale here. Then we're going to go back and re-smooth our working one and repeat the process for 3, 2, and 1. And there we go. That's our number 1, 2, 3, and 4 of our category 2 roaming set. And they are all, from the selection box, a half a voxel lower than our other set that we made in the previous category. Okay, now that we have our bottom end of our scale done on the bottom row, we're going to go and do the macro or mega pieces of this category 2 basic set. So what we're going to do first, take your default number 5, go copy it and input it into your reactor. And that way you're setting up the reactor for the roaming pieces, for the roaming corners. And for the number 6, like any other set, we're going to go grab number 4, copy it. And like with category 1, this is the tricky part. You're going to have to go in and position the ownership box above or to replace that corner handle. And if you make a mistake, just move it. Like I'll probably make a mistake until you get into the exact position like there, and then just go replace all your top 4 corners. And then the bottom 4 corners. So what we're doing is also shifting this whole reactor handle down, so next time when you put number 3 in, you can actually work off the visual again. So there's our number 6. We're just going to go and copy that out. Let's in our set, and we're going to move on to number 3 and just repeat this process. And there we go, number 9, and I'm just going to quickly give them their new paint job. There we go. And then when you got your set done, just go copy it all at once. And we're going to go put it on our bottom row. Just like so. So that's our first basic row. And now to make our second row, we're going to make and use the align stacking trick. And we'll do that next. Okay, like category 1 and category 2, we got our aligned borders coming up next in order to make these pieces. And again, this is going to be the vertically aligned. In part 2, we'll go over the horizontally aligned. So I'm going to copy back out our default number 5, bring it out here. And what we're going to do is, off the floor, stack it straight up where it's going to overlap its ownership box. So the ownership and the visual are both in the same stack of voxels that we're placing here. Next, we're going to go in and we're going to put our selection tool on. You'll notice the selection tool goes up higher to grab all the ownership boxes, but there's visual hanging outside the bottom of it because the ownership is all offset from our visual here. So we're going to pull down the ownership box. I like to bring it into the visual, so there it took 3 to come down off the top, so I'm going to just go 3 up as well. So I'm just going to work with that 6 voxel zone in the center. I'm going to take my smooth tool, I'm going to smooth once. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is take my selection tool, and I'm going to just go to the very center one here. I want to take my paint to show you which one. As you can see, my selection box is above where the blue came in, because that's the ownership still sitting up above, and the piece is below it. So there's our aligned location right there. So we're just going to copy that. I'm going to come over here, and we're going to paste it up on our board. And number 4. Then we're going to come back to our stack. We're going to go and target that 6 voxel zone again, which is offset. Right about there. We're going to smooth again. We're going to go in, grab our blue one, bring it over. That's our number 3, and we're just going to continue this for 2 and 1. And there we go, we have our micro align set started up on our row 2. Okay, and again, for the macro side of it, we're going to need to make a reactor. We're going to start off by putting in the default number 5 shape. I'll quickly get that in there. And then what we're going to do is go grab our number 4 align. And we're going to place that into the corners here. Again, remember, keep your ownership in going into the handles for when you're first moving this reactor over. And there we go, there's our number 6. I'll just copy that. And place it on the floor for now until we recolor them. And now I'm just going to repeat this with number 3, 2, and 1 to get 7, 8, and 9. And there we go. There's our 6, 7, 8, and 9 for our line set. I'm going to copy those and place them onto our board, just like so. Okay, like the other boards, on the third row we're going to make our stretch set. So you're going to need to come in on your bottom row, go select the entire row, copy it, come to a clean working area. You're going to want to keep your mouse steady, raise it up into the air. We're going to paste it in, and with your mouse wheel go down one, hold your F key and do a negative paste. And then in that same location without moving, you should still be on your green axis arrow. If not, change it to that. Then press your V key to mirror the selection on the green axis. Then with your mouse wheel go up 2, hold down your F key to do a negative paste and click, and that'll stretch the row the equal distance up. And that's how we get our stretched row for our category 2 line set. And I'm just going to copy those and place them up onto our third row. And there we go. That's our lesson 7, part 1 of our category 2 aligned roaming vectors.
We appreciate all the comments that we've been receiving thus far in this series and encourage you to continue giving us your feedback. After some long and late night sessions, we've been working with several prominent builders to bring you a dissected version of the terminology, along with demystifying a lot of the hidden world that we hear in building terms that aren't clearly understood. As I continue working with these guys, I plan on beginning this project very soon. Be sure you're following me and Draconious on Twitter. You can catch Draconious live every Saturday night at The Curve on Evil's Twitch TV broadcast. Thanks everyone for watching and participating. Feel free to share this series on your favorite media sites and be sure you're subscribed for future Landmark news.